Okay, let's start. Good morning, Colini Francesco and David Brebner. Welcome to our second webinar. We have planned a very nice webinar series in order to keep in touch also during this mad coronavirus pandemic emergency. And today, this session is dedicated to the integration of Active Directory Pro Plus in Internet security.
Very good. So thanks, Francesco. So this is the second of three. These are technical sessions to really hands-on look at the tool, look at the deployment, and how it can work for you, and how to convey benefits into your customer base. So let's get the slides up. I'm going to say some introductory things, and then we'll be going. So let me just check. Can you just type into the chat window and confirm that the audio is okay, and that people can see the screen, and then we'll get going. Just a quick confirmation, please, from one or two people. And all okay here. Thank you, Ben.
Yes, okay.
Okay. And wonderful, Alexander. Thank you. So let's press straight on. Okay. So flash start. I think let me just recap on a few words. So we are specialists in internet filtering, a cloud-based filtering system, 1.5 billion web visits per day. More than that, must be nearly 2 billion now. In more than 100 countries, we're protecting all kinds of industries, especially small, medium, education, a public hotspot, and a raft of ISPs as well, and MSPs. This is about low-cost, affordable technology at a great quality offer. Easy to deploy, difficult to subvert. Okay, not impossible to subvert. This is commercial grade stuff. We're not doing military stuff where we're going to be attacked and hacked. But this is good quality security deployed, easy to deploy for you at a fantastic price. This is what we do, and we are week by week getting a lot more coverage in the press these days on comparison sites. You see on the right-hand side here just rankings on Expert Insights, one of the major B2B comparison sites where we're reviewed as the best filter. Very proud of that. Thank you, compared to the major competitors, including the big guys like Cisco. So Pro Plus is the newest version of our offer. We offer Pro and we offer Pro Plus. Pro is our professional offer. It's not basic. It's not entry level. Pro is a very complete package. And that is the smallest package we do. Pro Plus is opening up the Active Directory market and other things actually, but Active Directory especially. There's a lot of Microsoft Active Directory deployed out there, especially in schools and businesses, and this offer allows you to integrate with that and to integrate the whole alignment of individual profiles. So granular profiling, that's what it's all about. And at the same time, this is a GDPR compliant solution, compliant with the world's leading privacy standards. And as we survey about a dozen other privacy standards around the world, we are compliant with everything else we can find. So that's great. Let's move on. So like all of our offerings at Pro Plus, this is about locking into the DNS in the router. You can change the DNS in the devices, in the phones, in the laptops. It doesn't matter because the router will enforce the DNS access, okay? And so this allows granular filtering in terms of the application of malware, threats, whether it be phishing, whether it be viruses, all these kind of things. You can select individually how to apply those, and that becomes important actually when you consider special users, sensitive users like the finance department, like the HR department, who need malware, as everyone does, malware protection, but they need a heightened malware protection we call heuristics, okay? And then content protection. The ability to decide how you would like your employees, customers, whatever it is, to be able to access content. Do you want them not to see porn? Do you want them to be barred from social media during work times? Those kind of things. Lots of interesting use cases. We're not going to fathom out on that, but finding these kind of use cases drives the entire sales process. Okay, just quickly on. As I said a minute ago, this is not just about Active Directory, though that is a very clearly defined market that you can ask your customers about and say, do you have it? And then begin to explain that we can integrate with it. We also allow integration into any environment by IP address mapping to the individual device. So it's really important for in some industries, schools, where people may bring their own device into the education environment, into the school, but they need to be pushed onto a specific filtering policy, specific filtering sets, BYOD. You can mix the Active Directory capability with IP filtering. The whole lot comes together. And this is all released now. I see we've still got the mention of January 2020. Yeah, we're rocking and rolling with this quite nicely, and free trials for everyone. We're going to be going right to the product in just a second. So just to summarize,
David, just to add, the cloud box availability for ISP is confirmed by next week, and we will introduce globally on the next webinar that will take place on Thursday, the 2nd of April.
Okay, very good. So Francesco is just pre-announcing there that in the coming days we're deploying an on-site cache as an option, and the big use case for that, the big market for it, is in ISPs. Okay, so next week we're going to be on the webinar going to be talking about that specifically. But here's a comparison of our Pro, the professional version, not entry level, not basic. It's professional. Rich features included here. They're not optional extra buy-ons. And so it's your content filter, your malware filter, geo-blocking, multi-tenancy, and then Pro Plus adding integration with AD and Windows native agents as part of that. Other agents coming soon for Android and Mac. The on-premise local cache, as Francesco just pre-announced there. And then can I just take you down here, it remains GDP compliant, to the last item, which I see is not 100% clearly visible on my screen. We have a little resolution problem there. This is detection of an infected device within the organization when Pro Plus is deployed. So what's happening there is the device is being observed to access things like botnet sites, and that is flagged up for attention. That's coming soon. Okay. Right. So I think this is a good moment, Francesco, when, having given some of the sales and marketing positioning, I might just hand over to you to say a few words here and lead into the technical session, which is the main part of this call today.
Yeah, thank you, David. So right now we are gonna start introducing how to set up a complete flash start Pro Plus environment with Active Directory. The whole installation will take about 5 or 5 or 6 minutes. It will be very easy, and we will do everything live and everything from scratch. So right now we are gonna connect a router with Flaster Cloud Network, and then we are gonna start filtering with Active Directory. Let me proceed, and let me tell you how to plan the granular protection and filtering strategies. For example, let's hypothesize a company or let's hypothesize a government or a school. We might have more filtering profiles, for example, for a company employees, technician, sales manager, direction, and CEOs. For a school, teachers, students, and employee, for example. And I think everyone, both companies and the school, may have the Wi-Fi guest filtering protection. And for this specific Wi-Fi guest, we will proceed to create a specific filtering profile. So now we need to think and to understand how to implement the filtering strategies.
Might I just jump in there, Francesco?
Yeah.
Just to say that, just to add to that from another angle, if you look down the list of guest Wi-Fi to creating 2 profiles to creating multiple profiles, it's a kind of a food chain here. It's an increase in maturity as well as subtly different requirements. Guest Wi-Fi is locked down. You can take it as far as complete lockdown and enable websites only by exception. 2 filtering profiles or 3 filtering profiles is a very common entry point for people as they start to use filtering for the first time in their organizations. That's a good guidance. That we have specific papers around how to start this, and then this is sophisticated, advanced multi-profiling, individual features. The product, the service itself, provides specific features to help you through what are subtly different filtering strategies here, and you can combine all of these together in the same model. That's what I wanted to add, Francesco. Sorry.
No. Thanks, David, for your contribution. So let's start setting up. We will see how to set up a complete working account. We will see how to connect from through the Windows connector. Windows connector is a very lightweight software in order to synchronize both users and group and single user authentication session. And then we will see how to configure the local DNS on promise cache. It can run on both VMware and Hyper-V, KVM, Proxmox. Okay, we have already ready-made virtual appliances for any kind of virtualization layer. And then finally we will start configuring our network DNSs. Okay, let's go live. Let me share my screen. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, just to okay, if you can confirm me that okay, if you can confirm that you can see my screen. Thank you for the confirmation in the chat. Okay, can you see my screen now? Please type if you can. Okay, fine. Okay, so first step, I've already registered an account. It's a trial account. We have already populated the account with data. Let me jump. This is the main customer area with licenses, price list, sales support tools. Let me jump into protection management, into the core session. And now let me set up a standard environment for a company, for a reseller, for a school, for a public administration. Proceed. Let me grant a static public IP. I am working with static public IP, but not a problem if I connect from a router with dynamic IP. Proceed. Okay, so the first location, my working location, has just been defined. Let me close the survey. Okay, and now I can set up a blacklist, whitelist, geo-blocking, but that's another topic. Now let's press on the magic button, Active Directory. Let me integrate Active Directory. Proceed. Well, everything is very simple. The system says before proceeding, you need to set up a Pro Plus network. Reconfigure network. Let me click on it. Okay, my network has already been reconfigured for Active Directory. Windows connector status. To speed up the presentation, I have already installed on a test Windows domain controller the software, but it's a very light software. It's about 2 megabytes and a half. I can download the software here. I can browse the guide. The guide is very simple. It's in English, in Italian, it's in Spanish, and I have the 3 steps to be completed. Okay, Windows setup, DNS proxy, and DNS configuration. Then at the end of the guide, we have also introduced a chapter talking about how to prevent users from overriding DNS filter. Now, let me jump in a domain controller. Okay, this is a test domain controller. It's a Microsoft normal domain controller with Active Directory. I can also play with very complex situations. For example, a forest and organization to using Microsoft terminology with multiple domain controller. I just need to set up the flash start Active Directory connector on the first domain controller. Simply, I need to configure flash start username and password, and then decide the synchronization interval. I think 5 minutes is too much. Maybe 30 minutes, it's okay. I need to apply the configuration. And then my Windows agent starts working. I can also force a manual synchronization by clicking on the sync button, and then okay, the system will says user valid, number of users in Active Directory number 8, number of groups 52, number of Active Directory integrated DNS zone number 8. It's very important to understand that we will also manage the Active Directory integrated zone in order to make everything work. Okay, I have just finished to configure my Active Directory connector in the Windows domain controller. Okay, if I come back here and if I refresh the page, I can see that right now both Windows connector and DNS proxy on-premise they have been synchronized. Let me jump to the local DNS on-premise. It's a virtual machine, so I can access how through VMware, through Proxmox, through KVM, through Hyper-V, but I can simply connect because it is accessible by an IP address with PATI. PATI is a secure telnet client. How to configure? 3 steps. Number 1, system name. Let me give a name to the machine, okay? Proxy DNS .company.local. Second point, network configuration, okay? Network name, IP address, local IP address, because it runs inside your network, subnet, network, and gateway. Let me confirm. Third point, device activation. Here, I simply need to write down my flash start credential. Okay, the same credential we have previously inserted in the Windows software connector tool. Let me confirm the password, and now the on-site DNS proxy simply check the authentication. Okay, maybe the password is wrong. Let me let me change again. trial@gmail.com. Password is cloud0001. Okay, done. Now authentication is good, and the system says last authentication finished. Nothing more to do on the local on-premise DNS cache. If I refresh the page, the system says DNS proxy on-premise status synchronized just now. Okay, and then now let me play with profile. I am setting up a standard, a very simple company environment. We have just created a default profile. A default profile is a sort of catch-all account. In this profile, DNS solution will be provided for every not authenticated users. Then I have set up a technician profile for technical people, and then a sales agent. I am not happy. Let me add another profile called top management. Usually, top managers would like to see some nice lady or some nice nudity, so we need to balance the request coming from the top. Okay, coming from the top management. Let me add another group. Okay, insert. So we have 4 different configuration profiles. For every configuration profile, I can set up a blacklist, whitelist, geo-blocking, and report it. Now, how to match different users and group to different groups? Let me start with technician. Okay, first point, let me select, you are editing technician group. Let me click on add users and group. Wow, here is my Active Directory tree. I can see both users and group. If I click on groups, I can, for example, select the developers group. In the same way, if I click on user, I can assign Marys some single users, Marys and, for example, Massimo. Now, developers group, Massimo and Mary's user will be joined to the technician filtering profile. Let me click on add, and now system confirmed that developers, Massimo and Mary's, will be filtered into the network with the technician profile. Second point, let me jump on sales agent. At the same time, I can add another group. For example, let me add, I don't know, users. And then let me add Francesco test and user test. Let me click on add. Okay, this group and user have been joined, connected to the sales agent. Third point, Wi-Fi network. How can I define a Wi-Fi network? Let me create a specific dedicated filtering profile, Wi-Fi network, insert, and then let me select Wi-Fi network, Active Directory. Well, Wi-Fi network has got a very particular thing. We can't add users and group because people working from mobile can't authenticate it to Active Directory. So usually on both companies and school, Wi-Fi network is a specific range of IP address. How can I deal with this? Simply, I can add the whole range of IP. For example, if the Wi-Fi network starts from 10.0.0.100 to 10.0.0.250, I can simply match this range of IP addresses to the Wi-Fi network. Let me click on Add. Okay. And then the system confirm that 150 IP addresses corresponding to the hotspot network, to the Wi-Fi network, are now filtering with Wi-Fi. To finish everything, how can I set up different blacklist, restrictions, and whitelist for different group? Let me start again from scratch, and let me select, for example, the technician group. Okay, I have selected profile technician group. Let me switch on protection, and now let me block the dangerous. Let me block free time. Let me block, for example, something else, and let me schedule Facebook for technician before 9 o'clock in the morning and then after 5 p.m. In the afternoon. Okay, I can block, I can allow, and I can schedule time-based blocking. Then I can set up personal blacklist, personal whitelist, and in case enforce the Google and Bing search engine protection. For technician, I can also add some geo-blocking. For example, I can block Russia because sometime in Russia it is plenty of malware, of strains and something else. I can block, for example, satellite connection that are often used by pirates or by dangerous people. And then I can set up some report. For example, I can set up the allowed by category report for technician, and I can also schedule a specific report. For example, let me add allowed by category, allowed geolocation, dangerous request, domains blocked for technician profile for last 7 days, and let me receive everything on Sunday morning, confirmatory. Then, second point, let me now set up different filtering policies for another group. Let me select now top management, and then let me jump again to the protection. If you see, configuration totally changed because at the moment, right now, we are editing top management filtering profile. So let me block malware and let me block heuristic. Heuristic is a form of aggressive protection against malware. And let me block just pornography website, pedophilia, that is very bad, DNS proxy, drugs, nothing more. This configuration will be applied to the top management site. For Wi-Fi network, just to finish, I can select Wi-Fi network. Then I can come back to the protection profile, and in this case, I can set up a very strong, a very strict configuration filtering profile. For example, let me block advertising, spam and stat, audio, video, dangerous, free time, malware. Okay, let me leave on newspaper because maybe they are important. Let me block the unwanted website, and let me block social networks. So in this way, I can define multiple filtering profile, multiple geo-blocking configuration assets, and multiple reports configuration for different groups. It's very easy. It's really, really easy. Now, to understand if everything is clear, may I receive some chat replies about the configuration and then about the way to implement. There is a question from Alexander. Can we install the connector on all domain controllers? Yes, if you want, you can, but we just require Alexander to install everything on just a domain controller, because the synchronization must occur starting from a domain controller. But if you want, if you have multiple locations, you can also set up this connector on multiple domain controller, but it doesn't matter. It is not necessary. Please, let's proceed with the question, and meanwhile, we can proceed with the presentation. And just another way, it's very easy to deploy the on-premise DNS cache. The on-premise simply forward the DNS request to Fluster Cloud for outgoing request, and it simply divert internal Active Directory request for Active Directory managed zone to the real domain controller. We have images for VMware, Proxmox, Hyper-V, and we are also available to provide third-part connector for the plugin. This is quite technical slides. I don't know if it is clearly viewable for everyone, but simply, this is Fluster Technicast Cloud. Okay, we have several data centers, several nodes spread all around the world. Here we have the Windows Active Directory server 0.1, and here is our Fluster DNS proxy, internal LAN, and then guest Wi-Fi network. Your DNS will be the Fluster DNS proxy IP address, okay? So you will need to change from Windows Active Directory DNS to the Fluster DNS proxy. We have clearly written configure DNS proxy IP address as the unique, the only DNS resolver. What will the Fluster DNS proxy do? It will simply forward DNS outgoing request to Fluster, and then it will simply forward the internal request to Windows. The Windows Active Directory service, the software you saw previously, simply will synchronize continuously Active Directory, groups, and user synchronization events. So, let me ask you through the chat, is it clear for everyone? How do you feel it? Do you think it is clearly implementable into your network? How does it sound? Let me please exchange some ideas, some tips, and some nice questions. Then David will start talking about a very important experience at Nottingham. But just a question, just a second for your question, because someone is typing. I can see the chat. Okay, Alexander is going to be able to resolve internal DNS devices. Yes, no problem, because both Active Directory Direct Zone and both the integrated reverse zone will be forwarded, will be pushed directly to the real Windows domain controller. So no problem for internal request will continue to be shared with the Windows domain controller. Some other technical questions, or shall we proceed with the global presentation? Okay, someone is typing. Just 1 minute in order to wait for further question. Let me see. Okay. It's a multi-site configuration, multi-company, and multi-tenant. So If you are resellers, you can also play with multiple customer through your multi-tenant dashboard. Good questions. What will happen whereas the proxy is down? Not a problem, because DNS is fully redundant, and Alexander, you can set up 2 different DNS proxy with 2 different virtual machine, okay? Microsoft says you can configure in your client up to 2 different DNS server IP addresses. Not a problem. Simply set up Flashstart DNS proxy number 1 and Flashstart DNS proxy number 2. If the first virtual machine will crash, because a virtual machine can crash, our engine is I think very consolidated after 10 years of excellent performances. But if you are scared about having just one DNS service in your network, please set up 1, 2, 3, 4 as many DNS proxy, local proxy you want. No problem. Thanks. Okay, David, could you restart now with talking about just a second, John, does the proxy have a DNS cache? Yes, it is tunable. If yes, can we flush it and propagate changes in local domains immediately, or should we wait for the TTL to expire? So we keep TTL, time to live, very short, just 30 seconds, in order to immediately apply modification. But there is a parameter to set up, to adjust as you want, the global TTL and the global cache retention system. So it is tunable, John, not a problem. Okay, there is. Thanks to you. David, could you please start back again with talking about our nice experience in the north of England, in Nottingham City Council?
Yeah, sure. So thanks, Francesco. A few words on this. Nottingham City Council is a large city, about an hour and a half outside of London. The services there are provided by the local government, known as a city council in the UK. It is one of the largest city councils in the UK. So it has schools, it has all sorts of services, it has many things. So and about 330,000 residents serviced. So like all of our projects, we're working with a partner there, and the partner was one of the early deployment partners. So he had experience of this going in the beta phase, and we deployed into 7 of the schools so far, with plans to extend that much further. We hope up to some between 30 and 40. School sizes here are between 200 to 600 pupils each, with a full deployment of the proxy server and the agent that Francesco just mentioned. It's fully deploys exactly what you've just seen. The production version now, we're in GA for several months now, and this is to allow full pupil profiling of activities on the internet, and for the staff as well. We're delighted at the feedback we've had from both the reseller and the council, who are extremely pleased with deployment and performance. And let me add 3 things here, because whenever you are launching a new product or a service, you learn some things about how other people tackle this. and I'd like to just mention three things. So the first is that what we are doing has traditionally only been the domain of vendors who sell a hardware appliance. We are not selling a hardware appliance. So we're on a totally different price point. That's the first thing. And the performance of this is very good. Second thing, so it's quite unique, okay, from that perspective, okay, with some important benefits. Secondly, the setup. The setup we've worked very hard on to make it as straightforward as possible. And we'd all like to have things as easy as possible. The important thing that we learned on this and some of the projects since is that relative to our competition, which is really in the hardware space here, this is significantly easier to set up and administer, and we're very proud of that. We've picked this up not only from schools but from the industry analysts as well, who've commented upon this, and we know of some of the vendors who've become very shy of deploying this. So the third thing to note is that some of the cloud vendors have gone into this space, and what we also find is that they are not offering that they're claiming Active Directory integration, but what they actually are doing is they are monitoring the Active Directory users. They are not allowing integration and so setting the profiles of those users. You can monitor what they're doing, but it's not a granular filter. So I think 3 points there. We encourage you to deploy this. Take it for your free trials. Take it to your early deployment customers. And be confident you can show off about this technology. It is great. That's what I want to say about Nottingham City Council and a few other things besides. Okay, so let's continue moving on, and we're coming, to the end point of our short webinar, and we would really appreciate you helping us with the survey here. Okay, we Francesco and I, as the owners of this business, we read every single comment on the feedback. In fact,
it's our normal behavior, David.
We do. I mean, Francesco also reads every single message that comes in on chat and on the if you go to our website, he reads all the chat there. Okay, I Francesco, I don't know when you sleep actually, but we take all this feedback and it drives a lot of conversations. So your feedback will be taken. Okay, so just a few simple questions here. There aren't so many people on this morning's session, so if you'd all be so kind as just to click a few buttons here, we will thank you very much for that. And I'll just, while you're doing that, I'll mention something else that you may have seen, depending on how closely you follow the security magazines these days, the journals, the online stuff. There has been a massive increase of COVID-19 based malware. A lot of scams are seeking to have you click on certain links, open certain emails, which are all related to COVID-19. For example, how to see if COVID-19 is in your area, see the heat map, how to hear the latest.
Buy mask, and this mask thing will never arrive.
Buy a mask, the mask never arrives. And it's all about implanting malware. Okay, so we are, and we with our partner in this are right on top of this. The defenses is a moving target. Defenses are already embedded in the filter. So it's I just want to share that data point. It's a very professional malware feed. that we have on this. It's a very specific. Malware threats are highly specific, and we work with a really leading partner in that field to bring you an excellent filter. So a bit of an aside, but it is that. The world is in a different place right now. So, Francesco, I don't see exactly the number of webinar feedback,
they are
but I'll
coming.
just pass back to you.
Thanks, David. Let me add just a few words. Someone is privately requesting to get by success, not a problem. You can see in the top part of your screen the get prices button. Simply click here, the color is red, and you will land on a very short registration page to immediately get your prices. Okay, both prices for company school and for resellers. So it is possible to resell because we operate the 100% through our channel partner. So Flashstart doesn't provide direct sale, but we sell and we distribute globally our technology through our partner network. So if you need to request prices, please go to flashstart.com. There is a button over there /how to buy with the meanings between how and buy. Please continue answering to the service, and in the meanwhile, if you need to ask further questions, both technical or commercial, me and David are here to enjoy in case your questions. The chat is available for other 2 or 3 minutes. Meanwhile, you are answering. Thank you so much for your feedbacks to our survey. And let me repeat again, to request prices, please click on the button Get Prices. Click here. You can see in the green line. How do you feel it? Are there some other questions about technology, curiosity, implementation scenarios? Here we are to answer. Please ask with confidence. If you want, we can also plan a dedicated guided setup demo with a customer engineer of us. Simply register. Please, Andrea, pass down the basic registration URL is cloud.flashstart.com. If you need a technician for free to try, to learn, to exchange some useful tip and tricks, you can go to the chat. Okay, we have a 24/7 live chat to be very efficient. We are very keen to offer you an impressive level of support and presence. So you can also ask and schedule a free demo session with us, okay, for you, for your lab, or maybe if you want also for your first customer, where you wanna try the new Pro Plus environment. Okay, the registration link is here. The price link is still appearing at the right top of the screen. Let me put it again. And just a few people now needs to conclude the interview. We leave the mask for another 5-10 minutes. The whole webinar has just been recorded, and by this evening we will send a nice email with slides, with the price link, with the registration link, and with the registration of this event. From Italy, thank you very much for your time. And thanks, David, for your contribution.
It's been a pleasure to have you with us. We wish you all the best. Stay safe, and hope to be working with you shortly. Thank you.
Yeah. Next week, pay attention, next week, next Thursday, it will be the 2nd of April, and we have planned, same time, same people, a very nice webinar about how embedding content and malware filter protection for internet service provider. Okay, there will be lots of news, lots of nice stuff, lots of energy, and lots of experiences to be exchanged next week, next Thursday, same time, same people, same flash start. Please continue answering the interview, and thank you very much
Thank you.
for staying with us. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.